to the Daddy Issues podcast with Danny D, where we take a deep dive into the everyday lives of men who are fathers and husbands, their day-to-day struggles with mental health, fatherhood, finances, fitness, and how they build and maintain healthy relationships on a daily basis. So join us each week as we interview different men and get their perspectives on different topics, and also what they feel like they have to do every day to become the best version of themselves. So, if you're not too busy, let's get started. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Daddy Issues podcast. It's your boy, it's your host, Danny D. Nice to see you, man. Look at me. Look at the light blind in my face, man. I'm taking the energy away from my Prince light. Man, looked like I was going to the upper room for a second. But yes, the purple light is back. Guess what? Episode 11 of season 1, man. We're making a lot of motion in the ocean. We're making a lot of moves. I like movement, right? And guess what? You made it again. You made it again. Like there's no, at this point, there's no betting against you. You made it again. You made it to another episode, and I'm proud of you, man. 11 bricks. Think about that. You started with no bricks at all. You didn't even have a fucking bag. Now you got all the equipment you need. You got your concrete mix. You got your spatula utility thing, whatever the fuck they use. And you're just taking those bricks one by one and laying them. Now you got 11 of them, man. Starting to resemble a wall. And I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. So before we get into any town business, before we get to today's show or what today's show is about or any other thing, I want to say, man, that I'm glad you can join me for episode 11 of season 1. I'm proud that you made it here to where you are, looking at me and I'm looking at you. And again, you got out that bed, you defeated that clock, you defeated every obstacle that was preventing you from being where you are right now. And that's amazing. What a time, what a time, what a time to be alive. You're looking good. Looking great, smelling good. I can tell that you took a shower this morning and put a rag between them buns. You're doing good, man. You're in good shape. You're looking good. Okay, enough of that. I just want to digress to the purple light a little bit. It's back. I've got some requests in the email that people want to see the Prince light back, man. Say it gives them a different ambiance, a different feel. So it's back. Which means I'm back. Which means I know you didn't make that fucking bed this morning. You keep doing that. You keep doing that. You keep getting out that bed in the morning and not making that bed like you live on an animal farm, like you live in a pig pen. You living like you living in Bethlehem, like you in a shed full of hay, and it's pissing me off. Have some respect for yourself. Make that bed. Episode 11, season 1, man. If you want to write into the podcast, you can write in at dadissuespodcast@gmail.com, like a lot of other people have been doing. dadissuespodcast@gmail.com, man. Send me an email, man. I'm getting through these, man. I'm coming up with a new way, to get these emails done faster. I was struggling. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Can I talk to you guys for a second? Can I do some talking? I'm always doing the listening, but can I do the talking? I was struggling with these emails, man. There was a lot of them. I mean, I was happy. It was overwhelming. But there was a lot, and I was overwhelmed. I was frustrated. But you know what, man? I buckled down. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, and I got out my little whiteboard, and I said, I know what, man? I'm going to brainstorm some ideas, and I did. And I'm happy I did because I feel like I got a better plan moving forward, man. It's a good thing. So, today is a decent email. I like it. I appreciate the person who wrote in, and we're gonna go ahead and get into it, man. I don't want to waste too much time. We waste a lot of time in these intros, man. I'm starting to notice that. I'm looking back at some of this footage and like, man, I'm doing a lot of talking, man. I'm doing a lot of talking. So let me open up my little tablet here. Okay. Hey, Daddy Issues Podcast. I'm Jacqueline, 37, and I find myself at a crossroads that's causing considerable tension in my life. I've been dedicated to my job for 6 years, working tirelessly, and have Finally been offered a promotion that aligns with my dreams for financial stability. Congratulations, Jacqueline. However, the catch is the promotion requires a move, and my husband David, who also works in New Jersey, is hesitant to give up his own career goals. Even though the promotion would significantly improve our family's financial situation, talks of divorce have surfaced due to the strain on our marriage. Jesus, I'm really I'm having a stroke today. I'm torn between pursuing my long-awaited dreams and maintaining the stability of our relationship. How can I navigate this complex situation? Are there ways to find a compromise or foster understanding between my career aspirations and the desires of our relationship? Any insights or advice you and your podcast community can provide would mean a lot. Thank you for being a source of support during challenging times for everybody. Thank you, Jacqueline. I like that name, Jacqueline, man. It's exotic. It's strange, but beautiful. Like a flower. Jacqueline. Well, Jacqueline, man, you're in a tough spot, man. I'm gonna be straight up. Like, what was it? David? That was his name? You and David, man. Y'all in a tough spot right now. On one hand, Jacqueline, you've been toiling away at your job. I don't know what you do for a living because you didn't put that in the email. It would have been nice to know. Would have gave me more perspective on the email. But then again, I appreciate you writing in, taking the time to, let a jackass like me respond to an email or something you have on your mind. But it would have been nice to add the employment history in there. But anyways, you've been toiling away at this job for 6 long years. Working hard, sweating. David's been working too. He has career goals. He has things he wants to do in his mind. But you finally get this promotion, right? You said it's going to be able to provide the financial stability that you want for you and your family. I'm assuming that's a nice chunk of change. But you got to move. You got to move. And this is some of the tough things and the hard conversations that you got to have in your marriage, man. These are the conversations that creep up out of nowhere, the anomaly conversations that you have no control over, right? You probably didn't know. I mean, I'm sure you knew what you were working towards. You seem like a career-oriented person. Seems like you were working towards this goal. But you probably didn't know what was going to get dropped into your lap that day. Because it's been 6 years. You've been complacent. You've been coming in the same way every day, doing your job to the best of your abilities. And that day, that specific day, they dropped it on you. Put it right on your lap. Now, David, I don't know what David's doing. I'm assuming he's doing the same thing. He's on a career path, a career goal. You guys are both in New Jersey. You're both grinding, both making money. That's positive in itself. Let me start by saying that. Let me start there. That's an extremely positive thing. You didn't mention any kids, in your email. So I'm assuming that you guys are just, power coupling it up and just grinding, getting money, getting bread, getting that breading. Oh, man, it's a tough one. Jacqueline, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a tough one because this is one of those situations where somebody's going to get the raw end of the deal. If somebody doesn't compromise, because that's what we're getting to, this is what it's going to be about, a compromise. Somebody is going to get the raw end of the deal. And obviously this is getting serious because you said you guys are arguing more and you're even talking about divorce. Jacqueline, how did it get there? That's what we need to discuss first. I'm assuming you guys have been together for this duration of the 6 years you've been grinding and him working. But is that what happens when you guys have an argument, man? This is something beautiful, Jacqueline, that you guys should be celebrating. I understand the circumstances aren't as great as they need to be, but you got a promotion. You've been grinding for 6 years, and you finally made it. You're moving on up like the Jeffersons, and you're in there talking about divorce? What are we talking about? Divorce? No. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that you guys are going to get divorced over something like this. You guys need to be able to first reach a happy medium. Talk to them. We say this all the time on this podcast. We have to be able to have these crucial, hard conversations. We have to stop being scared of emotion. We have to stop being scared of the unknown. And when I say that, I mean somebody's response in a situation, because that's what you're scared of. Scared of the response. You know, obviously you want this, right? And we're not going to say you don't love David. I'm sure you love David unconditionally. You love him with all your heart. But you know the investment that you have in this career path you've been on. You know your goals. You seem like a goal-oriented woman. You got your opportunity at your shot, as we'll call it, your big promotion. Now you're in turmoil. And I'm gonna be honest with something. And you know what, man? I know this is more of a, women don't get upset. This is more of a man-based podcast because I'm a man, obviously, and I go through men things. We do answer a lot of women questions and when they write in and things like that. But I'm gonna say something that men ain't gonna like right now. Man, we gotta drop this ego, man. We gotta leave this ego at the door. David, listen to me, man. Jacqueline got a promotion. I know, David, no. I know you've been grinding, man. I know you've been grinding because this woman wouldn't be with a bum. She doesn't seem like a woman that would choose a fucking loser to be a life partner. Seems like she believes in you and trusts you. Seems like you got it all together. Seems like that you're out there trying to achieve your goals the same way that she is. But unfortunately, she just got her big break first, man. We got to drop the ego, man. I know you're probably a little hurt. You out there with your job making some shekels. She comes to you and says, I got a promotion. And it's going to be 2 times both our salary. That stings a little bit, man, because it comes back to us being men and automatically assuming that provider role, right? Assuming that protective, I have to be the financial pillar in my family role. And that's where you are, David. And now your wife is coming to you and she's like, hey, things has got to change. I got this promotion. I say it all the time. We have to be conscious of our responses and the way we react to people. Because you know what, man? Something beautiful that she was sharing with you. You could have destroyed that. And again, I'm assuming all these conversations that you and David had, right? His response. I'm going off the response that I would have given that situation, right? He's hurt. He's probably hurt. And not only is he hurt that you're making more money than him now, you're asking him to drop his job and move. And back to you, Jacqueline, we have to understand that that's a big request. That's a big ask. Because just as much as you care about your job, your career paths, your goals, your education, everything that you did, all those hard late nights that you stayed, long mornings that you stayed over working, grinding to get that promotion, whatever you were doing for them to choose you, David's thinking the same way. He's doing the same thing. He's waiting in the wings for his big break. He want to give you the big news that he got a promotion. So what you got to start by doing is ask yourself this, right? If we're getting serious on this one. You have to start by asking yourself, if you were in that position, if you flipped roles, if you reversed roles, and David came to you, right? You're still doing the same thing that you're doing now. You're still grinding. He's still grinding. You guys are trying to be a power couple, but he just happens to get his break first. Comes to you and says, hey, Jacqueline, guess what? Great news. I've been working at the paper mill and I got promoted. But now I got to go to Long Island. I'll be making 2 times the salary, but I'll be a manager, whatever the fuck people at paper mills do. Shout out to all my paper mill workers. Would you be able in that situation to say, okay, what would your reaction be, Jacqueline? And that's a serious question. What would be your reaction to that? If he was the first one to come to you, and I know it's easy because you're already in the power position right now, and I don't mean power position like you think you're high and mighty and everything. You're just in you're on the good side of this, right? So it's easy to say stuff that you would do because you know you're not going to be in that position. But just really think about it. If he was to come to you with the same ultimatum, because that's what it is. It's an ultimatum at this point because you guys are talking about divorce. And if it comes to divorce, that means that you're not wavering. That means you're not breaking from how you feel. right? Because if that was the case, that wouldn't have came up. You would have went to David and said, hey, I got this job opportunity, but we have to move. And if he said, no, I'm got to stay here. I got to stay on my career path. You would have accepted it. There would have never been another conversation at that. It would have just been like, we'll figure it out. But obviously, you chose the latter, and you buckled down, and I'm proud of you for that. You're standing on business. You're saying, hey, I got to look at everything in a whole here. I got to look at everything because this is an opportunity. And that's one of the things that the risk that we take when we get into relationships, and one of the things that we have to start to understand, because when we go into relationships, a lot of us, me included, everybody does this, because we're ignorant to relationship traditions if we've never been in them. We come into relationships with unrealistic expectations of how relationships are supposed to go. We've talked about this in previous podcasts. We just enjoy the fire phase. The fire phase is the best phase of a relationship because you're just on fire for that person. You're burning for that person. You're learning all their ins and outs and likes and dislikes and going to the movies and having sex like jackrabbits, and just you're doing a whole plethora of things, right? It's fun. It's fun to be in love, right? It's fun to be in that fire phase. But when it comes to the flash phase, right? When there's a lot more smoke than fire, we start to come down off cloud nine a little bit and see what's under us. And that's where you are right now. That's a rough decision. But like I said, you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror honestly, Jacqueline. Be honest with yourself. A couple things here you got to be honest with. One, if the roles were reversed, the way you want him to react, because obviously when you come to somebody with good news, any type of news that you want to share with that person, first, you're sharing that news with that person because you care about that person and you're excited about it, and you believe that those feelings will be reciprocated when you give them. We don't go to people and share good news that are just crabby and we know it's going to hate on us. Like, hey man, I was going to tell you I got a new car. Who fucking cares? I hope the windows get busted out. We're not going to go gravitate towards that person. We always gravitate toward the people who's going to give us that same energy back. So, obviously, you got this good news. You're in a relationship with this man, or not relationship, you're in a marriage with this man. And you go and you give him this good news, and in your head, you've already come up with a scenario that he sweeps you up off your feet, and you guys are spinning around in the kitchen and laughing and drinking wine and champagne and just talking about all the places that you're going to move and what you're going to do with all this new income. But he didn't give you that reaction. Boom. First brick wall. He didn't do that. He probably brought up his career first. Like, hey, so, what are we going to do? Because I got a job here. We got to be more calculated about these conversations, guys. We have to be. Because now, Jacqueline, you're in a situation where you and David are already talking about divorce, right? You're already having those conversations. At the point where you and him are right now, you don't want to build groundwork for regret and envy and disdain for each other. And if we just look at the straight, hard facts of it, if you feel like this job, and you know what? It may be selfish. It may be selfish. It may be, to some people inconsiderate. It may just be, they may not like this. But if you feel like this job is more important than David, you feel like this career path, this goal that you finally obtained is more important than David, you need to go after it. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If you've took every other avenue and there's no compromise, if you feel like there's no compromise, there's no give, there's no pull, there's no opportunity for you guys to come to a happy medium, you got to go for your goal. Because guess what? If you don't go for that goal, right? If you decide that you're going to make that choice based on somebody else's feelings, all you're going to do is regret that person. You're going to build a disdain for that person. Every time something goes wrong in your life, every time something from that point on goes wrong in that job, or even if you start to hate that job, you're going to blame it on that person. How if they would have just did this, then I wouldn't be in this position. Or what am I here for? if you can really sit there and think about that and understand that concept, that and make that choice. If I make this decision to stay here, not take this promotion, would I be all right mentally? Would I be able to get past this? Would I be able to move past this? Would I still be able to look for future opportunities? Would I still like my job? Would I still like the person that I am? Would I still like the partner that I'm with? And I know those are hard conversations to have with ourselves, but you have to really think about all these things. And I know, Jacqueline, I know you didn't have any of this in your head at the time. None of us do. All you know is you received your promotion. You received happy news. You was on a one-way street straight to David. You're not stopping thinking about all this collateral damage, all this downfall. I'm probably pretty sure you probably even think about his job. Then we get to David with the ego. I'm sure I'm not saying he's not happy for you. I'm sure he's happy for you. But you got to understand the position of a man in modern relationships as a provider, a caretaker, the financial pillar of the relationship. And now you're telling him, not only are you going to be making more money than him, and it sounds wild, and I know it sounds selfish, and it sounds bad for men, but this is true. And I know a lot of men that's listening to this podcast can relate. He's thinking about all these things, and now not only that, you're asking me to leave my job, not have any money, not bring any money in, and move to another state, take that gamble? That's what he's thinking. And I put two and two together, and I'll tell you how I came to that assumption or conclusion, because you guys are discussing divorce. It became an argument. And for there to be a verbal argument or any argument of any kind, there has to be an opposing party. There has to be an opposing force. If you guys were just coming together and you're on the same page, I wouldn't even be getting this email. You guys would be on homes.com, Zillow, looking for new apartments. But there was an opposing force, and I'm assuming it's David. I'm pretty sure it was David because you're the one with the good news. But again, we're back to square one. Jacqueline, you have to have this hard conversation with yourself and then him. And the reason why we got to have that first internal conversation, or you specifically, because you got to know the person that you are, the decisions you're going to make moving forward before you can go confront somebody else. Before you try to go invoke an emotion out of somebody else or have a confrontational conversation with somebody else, you have to know who you are, what you stand for, and know that you're not going to move off of that. And that conversation being, one, if I was in the same position and it was flipped, would I give him that same emotion that I'm looking for out of him? Would I give him that same reaction? Or would I be okay with it? And if you can honestly say, you know what, I would be fine with it. I'll be happy. I'll be like, hey, let's move. And like I said, of course, it's easy to say, try to convince yourself of that now because you're on the good side of the spectrum. It's easy to say that because you're not in that position. You're not faced with that position. But think about if you guys move to whatever state you move to, and David gets a promotion, makes more money than you, and you got to move somewhere else. Are you willing to give up that career path, that dream? So that's the first question you got to ask yourself before you go have a confrontation with David. Now, I want to stop saying confrontation because that's a strong word. Before you have that hard conversation with David. The second question that you got to ask yourself, Jacqueline, after you make up your mind if you could do what you're asking him to do, is if you decide to go the other way and not accept this promotion, not accept this new job, are you going to be okay with yourself? Are you going to be able to live with yourself? And I know that's dramatic. It's fucking dramatic. And I'm not saying like you're going to go shoot yourself in your head or something like that. What I'm saying is, are you going to be able to, one, coexist with David without regret, without remorse, without envy and disdain? And are you going to be the person that you are now? The person that was told that they got that promotion? The person that's been putting all that hard work in on that job, the 6 years, are you going to still be able to be that person? Are you still going to be able to actively go to your job, with a good spirit, dedication, hard work, the same work ethic that got you that promotion? Or are you going to hate your job? Are you going to see the new person, see Amber get the promotion because you turned it down, and start hating her, start hating everything, and hating David, and hating carrots and fucking celery and cartoon show? Are you going to just hate stuff? That's the second question you got to ask yourself. Are you going to be able to live with yourself after you make a decision like this? Once you come to those two definitive conclusions, not just guesstimations, maybe I'll figure it out. No, we need solidified decisions, right? That we can act upon. We talk about that. It's easy to say stuff, but we need to be able to act upon it. So once you decide those two things, then you should go to David and have that conversation with him. Because you'll have an answer to your own questions. At that point, you're not even looking for an answer from him or a reaction from him. You're just looking for a solution for what you already believe. So if you go to David and say, hey, listen, I know this is rough on you. I know that you've been working hard in your job, and I'm proud of you, and you've been doing everything you can to help provide for this relationship just like me. Unfortunately, my time just came before yours. My big break came before yours. And I really need to take this. I've been working hard for this. I've been working hard for this. If you've already made up in your head that the only answer that you're going to accept is okay, let's do it. If he doesn't give you an answer, you know what decision you need to make. Because on the other side of that is a person you're not going to like. I promise you. And Jacqueline, you have to understand, you gotta have some give, man, or some feelings is a better word. You gotta have some feelings about the situation. As far as David, right? You gotta have some understanding to how he feels in the situation, because you're asking this man. I can't say how hard this man works. He can be a fucking lazy bum at his job. He can hate his job, or he can have that exact same mindset that you have. Or he can feel like he's one step away from getting that big promotion, that big chance. And that's why, to me, it's so important that we got to when we hit that flash phase, guys, listen to me. When we hit that flash phase, guys, we have to start digging deeper into our relationships. We got to, man. We got to. We have to start having these type of regular conversations. And I'm the same way, man. I don't have nearly as many of these conversations as I need to have. But we have to come up with these scenarios and build these file folders in our head, so when we come up against this type of stuff, we'll know what to do. We'll know what to fall back on. Training, if you will, to fall back on. Because it's a shame that such a beautiful thing as a promotion that's going to financially change you and David's life, it's going to become a traumatic experience for you, because it can lead to divorce. You can lose your marriage over this. And now guess what? If you make that decision to lose your marriage, that means you've already decided that you're going to take that position. So now you're in a new city, newly divorced, new workload, new expectations, stressed the fuck out. But don't stress reliever switch. So now that beautiful thing that you've been grinding for the last 6 years doesn't seem as beautiful anymore. It doesn't seem worth it. And what do we do in situations, uncomfortable situations? What does our mind do? We try to make uncomfortable situations more comfortable. We start to blame people. Oh, it's his fault. He's the reason why I feel like this. He's the reason why I hate this job. If he would have just came with me. Or we spiral out. We go into his tailspin. You see it a lot. Everybody knows that person who goes through a bad breakup, and instead of, mourning or coping or trying to deal with the breakup, and they just spin out. They start dating everybody, fucking everybody, all over the road, all over the world. Nothing but movement, all gas, no brakes. So Jacqueline, you're in a tough position. And David's in a tough position too. I really wish that David would have sent in the email too, just so I can get his perspective and see how he feels, where his headspace is. Because right now on his side, I'm just doing a bunch of assuming, bunch of assumptions. And what do they say? You assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So I think you can lead in a hard position. And if I'm honest with you, Jacqueline, I think David's in a harder position. I do. I think he's in a harder position only for the simple fact that he's got to be willing to leverage more. He has to give up more. And I know that sounds wild because you're chasing your dream and you have an opportunity to fulfill your dream, and that's huge. A lot of people go through life never being able to fulfill their dreams or get close to them, and you literally have that in your hands. But at the same time, you're asking somebody to give up a chance at their dreams, give up hope. You're asking somebody to relinquish hope and goals. Like, man, I hope I can get this. I pray I can get this. Even if it's temporary. For all we know, you and David can move to another city and you guys flourish, and he gets a promotion down there or whatever he does, or gets another job somewhere, and you guys thrive and have a beautiful family and live happy ever after. But just like I gave you the scenario, the same thing goes for David. He can fucking spiral out, lose his wife, hate his job now. He don't have that support system, that good groundwork to come back to. That warm woman to lay up against and pillow talk about his pains and his trauma in his day. He doesn't have that anymore. He just has a fucking job in his city that reminds him of everything that he lost. So, since you're the one who has to make the decision, I'm going to talk to you specifically, right? Like I just previously stated, Jacqueline, we get down to brass tacks. You got 3 decisions to make that I believe that's going to give you somewhat of an outcome, because it's still an egg toss either way. 1, you have to be able to first say to yourself, if David got this opportunity, would I give him the same emotion and energy that I'm expecting him to give me? And be honest with yourself. If I was faced with the same decision that I'm giving this man, don't be biased. I know it's going to be hard not to be biased because you're not in that position. You're on the good side of it, but you have to be impartial in this one. You have to be able to step outside yourself and say, hey, would I be able to do it? If it's yes, you can move on to the next one. If it's no, you can still move on to the next one, but you have to understand, like, okay, I'm being selfish at this point. That's not always a bad thing. Like I said, this is your dream. This is your goal. This is your career opportunity. This is your chance to shine. But you got to keep that in your mind. Secondly, after you figure that out, you have to be able to, whatever decision you make, live with that decision. You have to ask yourself, am I going to be the same person after this? Whatever decision that I make at this point, am I going to be either better for it, or am I going to be worse? You can be the same. You can be lukewarm. You can be, even keel, baseline. That's fine. But if this decision is going to make you a worse person, you got another tough question to ask yourself: is it worth it? Is it worth it to lose everything, to lose my marriage to this man that I love, or, is it worth it to deny my dreams and my goals and aspirations? Am I going to regret this man? Am I going to, because what happens if you give up this dream and then David turns around and gets a promotion in the same city you guys in, but now he has a better job here, and you see him living his best life, popping bottles, even though he's enjoying it with you, but you can't be happy because all you can sit there and think about is, damn, this is supposed to be me. So once you ask and answer those 2 internal questions, the third thing you need to do is go have a conversation with that man. Don't make it confrontational. I know I was using that word earlier, and I apologize. Don't make it confrontational. That's a strong word. Go have a hard conversation with him, a civil conversation with him. Listen to him. Ask him what his his worries are. And you need to ask him the same 2 questions. And if you guys are able to sit there and have a happy medium conversation with each other, civil conversation with each other, and I pray, Jacqueline, that you guys can come to a happy medium. That would be unbelievable to me. If you guys can come to a happy medium, or if David just says, you know what, you're right, honey. I'm sorry. Let's do this. This is your goal. Which, you know what? Honestly, every man wants to do. Every man or every woman in that position that you guys are in, the good side of them, the heartfelt side of them wants to give you that reaction and that emotion. But it's the ego and I don't want to say pain, that's a strong word. It's the ego, that doesn't allow us to do that, to humble ourselves and just be like, hey, straight out. So go into it with those 2 questions in your mind. Know what you're going to do. Already have your decision made, right? If you already have your decision made and you go into that conversation, you're not looking for an answer at that point. You're just giving them an opportunity to sway you, right? Give you his reasoning. You got a tough one on your hand, Jacqueline, but I believe in you. You know what? I believe in David. And I'm proud of both of you guys, man. Outside of this unfortunate situation, it seems like you guys got great groundwork, good foundational work. You guys are both working. You may have mentioned a family in there, and I apologize if I missed that, Jacqueline. But if, let's say you do have a family, 2 working parents, family, income, grinding, probably got college degrees, making an impact, being positive, doing the right thing. And you wrote into the podcast, so you're looking for solutions. So that tells me that you're analytical. That tells me that you're looking at the logistics of things. So I believe in you, Jacqueline. And I'm sorry that you're faced with a decision like this, but it's a hard decision. And sometimes when we get gifts, we don't always like the wrapping. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. But I know you'll come out on top. I know you and David's going to figure it out. You're going to come to a happy medium. This is my affirmation out loud. You guys are going to come to a happy medium, right? You're going to move to that new city. You're going to take that new job. David's going to get a great job down there. You guys are going to build this beautiful, happy family that's going to thrive and make money. And this will just be a thing of the past. That guy sitting there with those headphones on and that mic in his face talking, just to be a memory of the past. Just be a guy that gave you some advice. You'll make it. You'll make it. I know you will. I believe in you. I believe in you. Believe in David too. And I'm proud of both of you guys. Take it one break at a time, man. Small baby steps. Come to a happy medium. Try your best, Jacqueline, to come to a happy medium. Try your best. Understand his position. Don't just go in there one-sided. Understand his position. Understand what he's going through. Understand what he's giving up. And then maybe if you can understand that, or you can put yourself in that position by asking yourself those first 2 questions, maybe you might be a little more understanding, more willing to bend. But like I said, if you can't live with yourself, this decision is going to make you a worse person on the other side of it if you don't take this career position. Got to chase your dreams. Got to chase your goals. You don't never want to live with regret. You don't want to be laying in your bed at 90 and doop, 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 flatline. The last thing you're thinking about is your eyes roll up in the back of your fucking head is, damn, I wish I would have took that position. But I want you to reach back out to me, Jacqueline. Once you talk to David, man, tell David to shoot me an email too, man. We can get a little perspective on how he feels as well, man. You'll make it. And back to my beautiful listeners, man. That wraps it up for episode 11, man. Season 1. Hope you guys enjoy. I really enjoyed this email, man. You guys are spot on with these emails, man. You guys are really doing your thing with these emails, and I'm proud of you guys for it, man. But Hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Remember, we're on every platform now, man. There's no excuse, man. There ain't no excuse. Stop. No. I don't want to. What you talking about right now? I don't want to hear it. There ain't no excuse. I'm on Apple Podcasts. No, I'm on YouTube too. I'm on Spotify. Play my shit. Play my shit at work. Play it in the car. Play it while you making that damn bed. Make that bed. Go over to my YouTube, man. Join my YouTube. We got the live videos from the video podcast over there. If you want to see my ugly, beat up face, my best years behind me, you can see the live podcast, or you can go to any of those other platforms that I mentioned, man, and just hear my voice. Hear my voice. I love you guys, man. I'm proud of you. Till next time, Daddy Issues Podcast.